You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White sports supporters, let's talk about the New England Patriots. And if you're a Patriots fan and you're coming on here hoping I'm fixing to drop some Jerod Mayo's getting shown the door news, well, yikes. I don't think that's going to happen. And Josina Anderson is out there dropping stories, of course, about the idea that everybody below Jerod Mayo is going to be evaluated. Coming from Josina Anderson, that does not shock me, because you would have a hard time convincing me she doesn't have some kind of an agenda white knighting out there for Jerod Mayo. I've been very vocal. Look, if you're going to keep anybody, Alex Van Pelt and T.C. McCartney would be your guys. Why? Because, well, they've done a pretty good job developing a rookie quarterback. But if you gave me your Ruthers or Druthers, I would clear out everybody, absolutely everybody, and I would hire either Mike Vrabel or a Ben Johnson. I would probably lean Vrabel, but a lot of people were really on this Ben Johnson train. Good luck with that. We'll see how it turns out. Don't say I didn't at least have pause about it. He may be great. Nonetheless, Jerod Mayo looks like he's coming back, and after the words that have come out today from one of New England's key defenders, Keion White, and it was a guy that everybody expected to take a big step forward, and he's got a couple of things that came out in a couple of different articles. But there's one particular thing that he says that if I'm a Patriots fan, it would send a shiver of fear down my spine. And it's about defensive identity. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Wasn't the whole point of keeping Mayo after Bill to maintain defensive identity? And also, correct me if I'm wrong, there's 2 games left in the season and the team doesn't know their defensive identity. That one comment from Keion White, if I'm ownership, would be enough to seriously have me considering sending Jerod Mayo, and DeMarcus Covington would be out the door no matter what. But that would be very puzzling, and I'd be very concerned about it. Because somewhere along the line, the defense that was good last year lost its identity, even though it's the same scheme. And with 2 games left, they haven't found it back. That is monstrously concerning. Keion White doesn't want to hear anything about moral victories. Quote, I don't take consolidation prizes. This is a Boston Sports Journal. He said when asked about the Patriots' performance in Buffalo, I want to win, so that's just how I feel about it. Others in the locker room have shown more flexibility about where the team is. Captain Dedrick Wise, in particular, has talked about wanting to show that hard work is working and that the group is laying the foundation for a eventual winning program. Keion White understands that thought process, but isn't fully embracing it. Quote, you learn things from losses, he admitted. You learn things from wins. You can learn things from every situation that you're in. But I believe a loss is a loss. I like this guy. There's no such thing as a good loss. I really like this guy. There's no such thing as, like, all the consolidation prizes and everything like that. At the end of the day, we get paid to win, and that's how you continue to get paid. And I like that. I like that. The Pats have won just 7 times during White's tenure. No one worth a damn is accepting of this, and White, who has been pretty ticked off after a few of the losses, has done a fair share of soul-searching when it comes to that and to the Patriots' defense that has been disappointing. Now listen to these comments, folks. Quote, that's the thing I've been thinking for a while. I don't feel like I'm playing really good run defense. It's talking about the yardage they've given up here, rushing, okay? I think we just all have to get on the same page, align with where we want to be, and have a defensive identity. I think right now we're not doing too many things well as a defense, and this is the kicker, and we just have to find out what our identity is. There's 2 games left in the season, and this team doesn't know what their defensive identity is. You've got a defensive head coach, and you brought him in, you connected him to Belichick because you wanted that kind of thing you wanted that to remain together. So Jerod Mayo had that and lost it. I would, if I'm the Krafts, that wouldn't make me very happy. We played a little bit better last week for sure, but that's just figure out what our path is. And it goes on to talk about its refreshing honesty from Keion White. Now, by the way, in case you're wondering, Keion White this year, 28 solo tackles, 2 forced fumbles, 5 sacks. Where does that guy rank in edge rushers? He's the 30th best edge rusher in the league. Now, that doesn't sound great, but there are well over 100 edge rushers that qualified for these PFF stats. It's not a top 10 kind of guy. He's more like a top 20 kind of guy, I think, if you get the most out of him. But that's really interesting. And, of course, we come over here, Josina Anderson. If you're a Patriots fan and you're hoping Jerod Mayo is headed out, I don't think that's going to happen. The Patriots' assessment on head coach Jerod Mayo already includes broad evaluations of his coaching staff and how he can be better supported and support himself with potential modifications for next year per league sources. Okay, so she's telling you and they're telling you they're not going to get rid of Jerod Mayo. They're just going to fire all the coaches around him. So in other words, you're going to be sitting here next year looking at 4-12, and then the head coach will be on his way out too. While there are sentiments in the building that certain groups have shown signs of regression at times and frustration about consistency lingering, there's also a desire to contextualize unit development against reality of individual skill level available. All right, so it sounds like at least they recognize they don't have a lot of skill, but, on defense, if guys that's been there no longer knows what's the identity of the defense is, then something is broken. I mean, what the hell? Ultimately, evaluations will be made from the coordinators on down. Mayo's own staff decisions will be folded into the big picture and decisions ahead. Nonetheless, the big picture is still currently framing Mayo's tenure, and the reality is he's a coach hand-selected in advance by Kraft ownership to succeed Bill Belichick. Look at this. As it did in Detroit after Dan Campbell's first 3-13 season. Remember, we went over that the other day about how they're trying to connect Jerod Mayo to being a player's coach like Dan Campbell. And Dan Campbell, I believe, had something in the neighborhood of a decade or more of coaching experience. I think it was something in the neighborhood of like 14 years of some kind of coaching experience. And included in that was an interim head coach sort of test run with the Dolphins for Dan Campbell. Not only that, but he was from Parcells and Sean Payton's staff. I don't know about you guys, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize Jerod Mayo is not the next Dan Campbell. I mean, come on. And there's even a world where when Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn leave, what's Dan Campbell going to look like then? He may still be great. Probably will be, frankly. But this propping up of Jerod Mayo using Dan Campbell, holy hell. Okay. While look, let's be honest. If we're doing the player-coach thing, Mike Vrabel is much closer to a Dan Campbell than a Jerod Mayo is to a Dan Campbell. I mean, whoa. Man, I'm going to tell you. While some reported Mayo's seat was getting warmer prior to the start of the team's final 3-game stretch and the competitive results were needed over the span, league sources maintain a change at the helm, quote, would still be a shock citing to date that there has not been a rampant notion spreading through the building. So that's Josina Anderson's way of saying that Jerod Mayo is coming back, and that's not shocking at all that that's out there, especially coming from her. I'm just keeping it real here. I do think there is a bit of an agenda going on there. You know, maybe the same reason Jerod Mayo got the job. Let's put it that way. All right. So good luck. You got one of your best defensive players who's had some regression. He's calling out Jerod Mayo's defense and DeMarcus Covington's defense and saying this defense does not have an identity. How many games into the season are we right now? There's 2 games left, and this defense does not have an identity. And the defense was much better last year under Bill Belichick. Wasn't that the point? To maintain continuity between Belichick and Mayo on down, et cetera, et cetera. And now you got a player coming out and saying, we've got to find our defensive identity. Okay. I mean, why was it lost? ? That's what I'd like to know. Somewhere along the way, that message was not getting relayed. That's not surprising. Can I just keep it real here? Jerod Mayo acts goofy. Unprofessional and goofy. There, I said it out loud. When you watch a lot of his press conferences and just different things over time, videos of him and listen to him talk, I'm like, now's not the time for that kind of humor, or whatever it is you're trying to do is not working out there. All right? So tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.